Hello, Joy family. Welcome to the Joyful House. Welcome in, everyone. It is a pleasure and an honor to be here with you. Thank you so much for allowing me to have last week off. I hope everyone had a wonderful and a happy Thanksgiving. We did here in the Joyful House. We are definitely very blessed and very grateful for everything that we have and everything that we do not have. This is the week of December 1st through the 7th. So not only welcome to my playground number 26, but also welcome to a brand new week and a brand new month. It is so surreal that we are entering the final month of 2025. Where did the year go, my friends? Oh my goodness. Okay. Well, as we get started here today, if you will, jump in with me and let's sing happy birthday. We have a couple of friends that are celebrating birthdays this week. So if you will, join me in helping to celebrate the birthdays that we know about for this week. And they are Trish with the Purple Yarnivore and Niese with Freehandly Made Au Crochet. Now, if you're celebrating a birthday and you don't think that we know it here in the Joyful House, please help us out by letting us know in the comment below or sending me an email at cynthiasjoyfulcreations@gmail.com, which is also listed in the information box below. And that way we can celebrate your special day with you and celebrate it all week long. Okay, so if you will, join me in singing happy birthday to Trish and Niese. Well, thank you for joining me in singing happy birthday to those lovely ladies. Another thing that I like to do in the Joyful House now, and for some of you, you might be like, we've done this, I know what to expect. But my friends, when you truly express your joy, when you stop and take a moment to really just live in the moment and be joyful, regardless of your circumstances, it really and truly does something to your mental and emotional health. So if you will, I want you to stop whatever you're doing. Unless your hands are on a wheel, please keep them there. But if they're not, whatever else you're doing, just stop for 1 minute and help me express our joy. When we get our body moving and we get ourselves in this mindset of having a joyful heart, you would be amazed at how you are able to handle circumstances and situations a little bit better, and how your attitude will actually take an adjustment. If you don't believe me, then join me. And if you do, well, then definitely join me and let's express our joy. I definitely hope you feel a little bit more joyful than you did a few moments ago. Sometimes it's the art of being silly, and we're going to talk about that a little bit more in just a moment. But before we do, and before we jump into a recap of not only the last week of Thanksgiving, but the week before that, let me just share with you, in our last playground, I told you that I was going to share a motivational video that Mr. Joyful had shared with me, and unfortunately I had forgotten to put it in that description box. So I have now added it to that particular video, but I'm also going to be sharing it in this video as well, so you don't have to go back to that one. Unless you didn't see it, then I would always encourage you to check out the Welcome to My Playground videos, because they are meant to be encouraging and inspiring. I'm also going to share another video that he sent me that really puts life into perspective and really teaches us how to just truly embrace the journey that we're on. Now, the video that I shared last time, or talked about last time, and I'm sharing today, it is a Winnie the Pooh video. And so directly below that in the information box will be this new video about a young lady who has survived much and yet has the most beautiful outlook on life. Talk about an attitude adjustment. It just was just so inspiring. And honestly, the day that Mr. Joyful shared it with me, I was having a not so great day, and it really just pulled me out of my slump and, well, to put it frankly, helped me express my joy and fill my joy tank. So I want to definitely pass those on to you as well. So hope you'll go down below in the information box and check them out after you finish watching this video. You won't regret it. Just make sure you're clicking in the videos itself so that you can hear the audio with it, because I noticed that sometimes the audio will play and sometimes you got to make sure you go and make sure you unmute it. So definitely look for that so that you can hear it. All right. Oh my gosh, the last 2 weeks in the Joyful House. To be honest, not really a lot of exciting things have happened, but what has happened is moments to rest, moments to just breathe deep and truly enjoy the gift of life. We have enjoyed one another's company. I've actually been able to pick up my crochet hook and, you know, work on several things. So that has been fun and exciting, because that's something that I don't really get to do a lot of. And I'm hoping that as 2026 rolls around, that I will be a better steward of my time and will get to do a lot more of that. Again, just rested, just actually relaxed at times and watched movies with the family. Enjoyed one another's company. We've played some board games and just had a lot of fun. Then I took a couple days during that first week that we had the last time the playground video went out, the week before Thanksgiving. And I worked on some projects that are coming out starting today, actually, that I collabed with a couple of ladies. And that was Kimberly from Pajama Quilter, and Connie from Just Another Stitch, Nancy from Nancy's Little Treasures, Pam from Be Creative Crafts, and myself. And those videos are starting today, so I hope you will definitely check them out. Today is Kimberly's, tomorrow is mine, Wednesday is Connie, and Thursday is Pam, and Friday is Nancy. And I know in my description box or information box, I have all the links to all those who turned in their videos. So all you have to do is go into my information box, find their name, and click on their link, and it'll take you straight to their video. But I hope that you will go and watch those and share in the Christmas craft collab fun that we had, and find out what that was all about. And give those videos thumbs up to help support us, and leave us a comment. Tell us what you like best. And I would love it even if you would come back at the end of the week, and out of all 5 videos, let us know what projects you really, really like the most. And if you do that, I'll be sure and give you an extra entry on December's Tea Party Wheel. Okay. Let's see, what else? So that was a lot of fun. And then we started getting ready for Thanksgiving. And we spent actual Thanksgiving Day over at my son Jonathan's house, which is also where my son Andrew lives. And so it was Todd, his mom, Jonathan, Andrew, a friend of Jonathan's named Hudson, and myself. And we had just a great day. We brought a little bit of food, and Jonathan fixed a lot of food, and we ate. We were filled and happy. We watched a couple episodes, I think 3 episodes of the Chosen movie series about the life of Jesus. And then we played several board games and had so much fun. And then we had to get out of there by about 10:15-ish that evening to make the drive back home and pick up Trayvon and take him to work. So we were able to pick him up at 10 minutes till midnight, got him to work on time. And then we started the next day. Todd and I went over to my parents' house, and Faye stayed home with her son Sam. And Todd and I went and spent the day with my parents. And what a great day that was. We brought in food from a restaurant that they had been wanting to try for a long, long time. Back in the day, my parents used to make their own egg rolls, and they are not in the place where they can physically make those egg rolls anymore. So we were able to bring them some egg rolls, and what a great day we had. Now, I have a funny story to share with you about that day. So I'm sitting there and I'm crocheting, and Todd is sitting beside me, and we're on the couch, and my parents are over in their recliners. So the way I'm sitting, I can see everybody, and if I just slightly turn my head, I can see the TV. So it was great. I had a view of the entire room. Well, I'm talking with my mom, and I'm crocheting, and I look up, and when I look up, I see now in their house, they off the side of their dining room, they have these sliding glass doors, and it leads out into a closed-in porch that also has sliding glass doors on the other side of the room or the other side of the porch that you can go out to go down to the lake. So we're sitting there talking, and on the porch side of the sliding glass doors, all of a sudden, I just see this tail drop, and I freak out. I'm like, what? There's a tail. Oh my gosh, it scared the bejesus out of me is what I said, and everybody laughed. But wasn't so funny because my mom has said she's been hearing something, and she thought there were squirrels, running. Well, where her recliner is, that wall is right there. So surely she probably did hear. And sorry about that. That was the doorbell ringing. All right. So that squirrel probably has been running up and down there. Well, to be honest, we weren't 100% sure that it was a squirrel because the tail was so long. It looked like a raccoon tail, but it didn't have rings on it like a raccoon. So we thought, well, maybe when they're yearlings, they don't have rings. I don't know. Nonetheless, there was a tail somewhere it should not have been, okay? And I can tell you this much. It was not Eeyore. He was definitely, Eeyore might have lost his tail again, but that was not an Eeyore tail. So anyway, my dad tried to get up to see it, and it pulled its tail back up, and he wasn't able to see it. So we start talking again and carry on the conversation. And I don't know, 2-3 minutes later, on the other side of the sliding glass door, still on the outside, it was over on this end, and now it was on this end, that tail drops again. And I'm like, your friend is back. And so this time, Todd and my dad are able to see it. So Todd walks over to the sliding glass doors, and he looks up into the rafter, and he is met face on with a face of a squirrel. And so anyway, so this has proceeded to go on, and Todd and my dad are walking the outside porch, tapping on the roof, because Todd's so tall, and just kind of banging on the top of the ceiling to try and scare him off. And well, it doesn't. It sends him the opposite direction. So they go outside and they start walking the perimeter of the porch to see where they could possibly be getting in. And they do locate a section. But before they can close it up, of course, they've got to get the squirrel out. And well, the squirrel got quiet and nestled down because apparently it knew that we knew that it was there. So it was no longer a squirrel secret. So the day went on, and eventually my mom got to see the tail. And so, but tail sightings continue throughout the day. We needed squirrels gone sightings. But nonetheless, the day went by and we were not able to get that squirrel out. So the next day, which was Saturday, my mom called me and my nephew came over. And well, first off, my mom calls me early in the morning and she's like, okay, the squirrel dropped something. Your dad was out fixing breakfast and all of a sudden we heard this big thud. And so we thought he dropped something, because that was their fear, was that he was up there storing nuts and stuff for the winter, maybe even moving his family in. And so, so Daddy went to go look, but didn't see anything. So he goes back to finish, cooking breakfast, and he turns around and there, sitting on the steps on the outside, on the porch side, was a squirrel sitting on the steps. So he was also able once again to confirm that it definitely was a squirrel. However, he says it was a very tiny one. So it definitely was a yearling from this past spring. But anyway, nonetheless, probably storing up for the winter and thinking it has found its little home to hibernate in for the winter. My dad says, I have news for you, buddy. So they called my nephew because he lives a lot closer, and Dakota went over there and was able to help Daddy board it up and nail that hole shut for now until they can get the contractor back out there to fix it. So the porch, so the squirrel is literally on the floor of the porch. And so Daddy and Dakota proceed to try and chase the squirrel, and it's so fast. So fast. Of course, it's a baby squirrel, and squirrels are fast to begin with. So they had no luck. So they actually opened the sliding glass door and then tried to sit at the dining room table quietly to watch it. But anyway, they thought the squirrel had left. So they finally closed the door and thought, everything is done for. Yesterday, which is now Sunday, Dakota and his girlfriend Natalie are over at my parents' house celebrating Thanksgiving. And Natalie is sitting on the same side of the couch where I was, and they were carrying on conversations, and all of a sudden the tail drops. And so no, the squirrel is not gone. In fact, he's back up in the ceiling of the porch. So now they're trying to figure out a way to swoosh him out of there with cayenne pepper or vinegar or something like that. Todd suggested cinnamon oil because they do not like cinnamon oil at all either. So anyway, this is definitely an ongoing thing. And while funny it is not. So definitely hoping that we can rectify the squirrel that is trying to hibernate and nest up in my parents' porch roof for the winter. But anyway, I will continue to keep you abreast of the squirrel saga. And that brings us to today. And I do apologize that I'm getting this video out late today. It's just been a morning, and we'll just leave it at that. But what a beautiful day it still is. It is very cold here and rainy. Luckily, the rain had stopped when I went to pick Trayvon up from work this morning. We do not have to go back out the rest of today. He does not return to work until 4 o'clock tomorrow. So hopefully, I would like to think we miss all the rain. However, the forecast is calling for 90% chance rain tomorrow. So rain and cold weather, not my favorite, my friends. Now you know why spring and fall, especially fall, are my favorite times of the year. I don't like wet cold, and I don't like being out in wet cold. Okay, so I do hope that you are ready to start a brand new week. I hope that it is just the most, because you make the decision to make every day count. You know, I heard in a movie that we watched over the last couple weeks that you have given me off, a child remind adults that we are here because God brought us here and gave us a purpose. And no matter what you're going through, no matter how heavy the burden you're carrying right now is, we have to remember that we were designed and created for a purpose. And so we are not here by happenstance. We are certainly not here by mistake. So I pray that you will continue to walk your journey and find out what your purpose is. All right. When we were last together and chased our fun, it encouraged us to be an amateur at our emotional health. And I hope that you did take some time to think more about your emotional health. You know, a lot of times if we think about our health in general, we always think about the physical, but oftentimes we don't lean into the emotional and the mental side of things. So I hope that you did. And I said that I would come back and share, you know, a story of my own, but I'm probably not, because emotional growth, it really is a personal thing. But this is what I am going to share with you because it is still part of my emotional journey. You know, I do such a great job of taking care of other people and trying to serve others. And oftentimes in the mix of that, I do forget about myself until I'm either broken down and I'm sick, or, you know, find myself battling, you know, a disease. And so God has certainly given me so many opportunities and reasons to be a little bit more mindful about my health. And I'm stubborn. You know, the disease of diabetes sure didn't get me to that path. And then now learning that I have congestive heart failure, it really still wasn't motivating me to be more. And there goes the doorbell again. I'm not going to cut this time. We're just going to keep rolling with it. It still didn't really push me to be more mindful of that. And it wasn't until the grace that you guys have given me in these last bit of days of having some time off to just be on a break and breathe and truly live, that I came to really understand the importance of laughter, the importance of resting, the importance of setting aside time for yourself just to breathe in and breathe out. And so I think instead of sharing an emotional release or story with you, what I'm going to share is something that I'm going to take forward in 2026. You know, I've already decided that in 2026, that my motto is going to be, you know, work smarter, not harder, and less is more. And that is what I'm going to strive for every single day. And, you know, they say that sometimes wishes are better in threes. So I'm going to add a third one. So I'm going to work smarter, not harder. I'm going to embrace that less is more. And I'm going to learn to be, what is the word I need? Attentive. I'm going to have an attentiveness adjustment. Instead of an attitude adjustment, I'm going to work on an attentiveness adjustment. You know, I'm the kind of person that when I hear about things, I feel like it's my place to always try to fix them, make the world a better place, put a smile on everyone's face. And while I do believe that that is part of the calling and the purpose that I have, I also need to learn that not every problem is mine to solve. That God may make me aware of something so that with my prayerful warrior's heart, I can pray for it. But it doesn't mean I have to fix it. It doesn't even mean I have to come up with solutions. Maybe he's just calling me to stop, drop what I'm doing, and pray for that person. Drama gets me so anxious, and I find myself avoiding people because sometimes their drama is too much. And so I need to learn how to pick and choose. But I also need to learn how to love people without carrying the weight of their drama. Now, I know what this may sound like. This may sound like, oh, okay, so you don't really care about my problems. That's not what I'm saying. I tend to wear them. I tend to wear other people's emotions. And then I realize that I'm trying to solve something. And number one, it's not mine to solve. It's not even my burden to carry. I'm really bad about that. And so what I'm trying to do is eliminate things. It's not just people. It's TV shows. There's some TV shows that I watch and I find myself getting all caught up in it. I drop my crochet hook. I can't crochet. I'm so focused on it that I'm like in a trance until the last, second of the show ends. And half the time it's a continuation for next week. And it's like, really? And then I carry that. And it's something fictional. It's not even something real. Even if it's a reality show, to some degree, it's still a staged event that's created for enjoyment, but the enjoyment comes at a cost. And I realize that emotionally and mentally, I am so invested in this event that's supposed to be enjoyment, but it's not my type of enjoyment. So I'm learning how to break free of things that make me anxious, that burden me when they're not even my burden. I tend to anchor myself with weights that are either not even real or they're real, and I'm not the person that God has called to fix or break those chains. I'm just the one He's called to pray. But in that, I'm also asking for discernment, that when it is my turn to be more involved, that I'll know the difference. And I'll know that my involvement is more than just praying. I hope this has made sense. Just the way that I'm built, I tend to always feel like I need to be a nurturer and a fixer. But in doing that and chasing after everything that I'm not even supposed to chase after, I find that I wear myself down. And then I wonder, how did I get here? So I need to learn to take life situations and say, okay, God, I'm trusting you. Okay, God, let me know what my role is. I'm asking Him specifically in every situation for discernment on what my role is. Because even life events that our government is doing, sometimes I take them on and think, as a world where we as Christians live and exist, we must not be setting a great example, because not even our fellow leaders are living a life of Christ. And sometimes I take on that burden. So I hope you've truly listened to the full extent of what I'm trying to say, and that you don't take it as I don't care or I'm running from the world's or even those I care about's problems. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that I have to have a healthier approach, and I have to ask God, what is my role? What is my purpose in this situation? Because I believe if something's been brought to me, it's for a reason. But I need to learn how to decipher if it's a prayerful thing or a prayerful and an action. But in the middle of that, I need to also remember to take care of myself. And I also need to remember, like with the TV shows, what goes in is what comes out. So if it's not healing, if it's not positive, then I can't expect that to be what comes out. So I'm looking at all areas of my life, from activities to what I read, to what I watch on my phone, on Facebook and TikTok, to my relationships. And I'm trying to build them in a way that is emotionally helpful and healing, not only for myself, but for the other person involved. So just because I don't come up with a solution, and just because I don't jump in with some kind of hand to help, doesn't mean I don't love that person, doesn't mean I don't love myself, and does not mean I don't care about the situation. But honestly, every day is filled with something, maybe even 10 things. And I can't help 10 people if I don't take care of myself. And that's part of what this morning was about, and why I am doing this so late today. Because for the first time in a very, very long time, God and I truly had a morning. And I not only learned how to take care of my mental state, but I learned how to kind of set a pace for the day. When to get up, when to do my quiet time, take my morning meds, to do my morning drink that I have to do, and have breakfast. So many times I don't have breakfast. And part of building our emotional health is eating well. I know I spent a lot of time on this topic, but I think it's because, one, it's one that's often neglected. And not only as I looked at my own self, but as I think about us as a world, we often don't think about our emotional health. We just kind of deal with things in the moment and put a quick Band-Aid over it. But eventually the Band-Aid will wear off, fall off. It's funny because last night before we went to bed, Todd helped me put a patch over my sensor so I could try and take a bath today by myself. And by the time I got up this morning, I actually found the patch on our bedroom floor. And that is what really prompted me into the quiet time that I had with God this morning. That's so many times how we try to take care of our emotional health. We try to patch it with a Band-Aid, but sometimes it sticks for a while, and sometimes we barely go a distance and it falls off. And it's weird how a Band-Aid patch for my sensor led me into truly realizing and embracing what Annie was trying to tell us the last time we were together about being amateurs at our emotional health. I don't know. Maybe you're one of those people that are sitting there right now listening to this and you're like, Cynthia, I'm right there with you. I love people and I live to help them just like you. But I forget that we can only do so much unless we have taken care of ourselves as well. I tend to suppress my emotions down deep and don't deal with them. I tend to put them at the back of the line and say that they're not as important as everybody else's. But as I continue to travel through this journey of life and all that I've been through, I've realized that Maybe some of this is God just trying to get my attention. So yes, 2026 is going to be a different year, and I'm not waiting till 2026. I am starting it now, because if I start it now, then by the time January 1st, 2026 rolls around, I'll already have a frame of mind that works smarter, not harder, that realizes that less is more, and that realizes that my emotional, my mental, and my physical health is just as important. It does not take away and it does not add to the purpose of what my life is meant to be and represent, but it will definitely make it better. So if you're ready, it is time for us to chase our fun this week. So join me as we chase our fun and see what Annie has in store for us for the week of December 1st through the 7th. Shall we? So Annie says to be an amateur at faith, Faith. Hebrews 11, chapter 1 says, now faith is confidence in what we hope for and assurance about what we do not see. Oh, I love that. Faith is confidence in what we hope for and assurance in what we do not see. It was the kids that Jesus always wanted to be around. The ones who knew less, who cared less, and performed less were the ones that he was always saying that he wanted closer to him. I think we should pay more attention to this. It was never the adults, the ones who knew a lot and had a lot of plans and ideas. They were not the ones that Jesus told us to be like. He told us to be like the kids, to come unto him like little children. And kids are fun. A million things make them fun. But some of my favorite things about my many little BFFs are that they're curious, they're free, they're hopeful, and they're willing to be amazed. When kids ask questions, there are legitimate question marks at the end of them. Children don't ask leading questions with ulterior motives and confirmation biases that are firmly set. They wonder with open minds and open hearts. And because of that, they can truly receive the answers to their questions. There's a gift in that, a chance to stay curious and keep wondering. Kids are truly free. It doesn't occur to them to be self-conscious or to worry, whether people are judging them. They're confident and they're not trying to prove anything to anyone. They feel secure to be themselves, to be, sometimes brutally, honest, and to accept others as they are. Kids are hopeful, and they mean it. They approach life expecting to have fun, to be taken care of, and to experience fullness. Kids are willing to be amazed. In fact, they're hungry for it. There's this innocence and wonder to how they walk through their days, as if something wonderful is out there just waiting to be discovered. They're always on the lookout for it. They're always looking for the wow factor. That's my little insert. And like Annie's pastor, Kevin Queen, says, we tend to find things that we're looking for. So what if being an amateur at faith is simply approaching our journey with God like how kids approach Jesus? We can be curious because he's big enough to handle our questions. We can be free because he's good enough to take care of us. We can be hopeful because he's faithful enough to hold our future and keep his promises. And we can be willing to be amazed because he's amazing. If we're looking for him, we'll find him. You know, as I read through that and skimmed through it before coming on here today, I wanted to share this a minute ago, but I didn't want to spoil anything. You know that third thing that I said is going to be my goal for 2026? Number 1, work smarter, not harder. Number 2, less is more. Well, the best way to sum up my number 3 was right here when it said, yes, oh, experience fullness. That's what I want to do. I want to experience fullness, my friends. And as a child, I get it. When I think back to my childhood, the way we looked at the world, the way we saw things, the way we approached things. You know, even today, I find myself riding down the road and worried, is somebody going to pull up at the stop sign or the stoplight beside me and just pull out a gun and shoot me? That's what the world is creating for us. If I share my testimony and I speak about my faith, is somebody going to be sitting on a roof somewhere and shoot me? I don't want to live like that. That's how the world lives. But I do want to live it to fullness. I want to enjoy every moment. I think about Martha and Mary, and, you know, God doesn't want us to be so busy that we miss our visits with him, that we miss our visits with our parents if they're still living, with our children, our grandchildren, our neighbors, our friends. So I am continuing to make changes in my life, the channel, my home, my relationships, so that I can embrace them and live in the fullness of all of it. Many of you know about my love and my passion for the Stranger Things blanket, but it has also been an anchor. And I am going to work very, very hard this month to finish that blanket. I truly want to enter 2026 free. I want to know myself better. I want to know you better. I want to know the people that God has blessed me with better. And in order to do that, I've got to start living a life that allows me to experience the fullness of it. I hope you'll do the same. All right, are you ready for our Chase the Fun challenge? Let's find out what it is. Okay, our Chase the Fun challenge for this week is ask God what you're wondering about today. Tell him where you need some hope and freedom. Invite him to amaze you, and then see what happens. Well, I already have a couple things that are swarming in my head that I'm wondering about. I can already think of one or two things that I want him to amaze me with. But I'm also curious to find out what he is thinking about and what he wants to amaze me with. So I do look forward to coming back next week and sharing with you. My beautiful, beautiful Joy family, I hope you have a great week. I will tell you that I thought about dropping this segment in 2026. And I see now that God is saying a big no, a big fat no. It may not always be filled with fun pictures and videos of exciting events, but I know that he is using this for exactly what it was originally meant to be. Kind of a digital blog journal, if you will, of a chance for me to express myself and share what goes on here in the Joyful House, but also to use it as a word of encouragement, even if it's in the enlightenment of chasing our fun and offering up just what he is: hope and freedom, a chance to experience life to the fullest, regardless of how heavy each step we have is. At least we're making steps. At least we're putting one foot in front of the other, and we're not doing it alone. We are doing it together. So thank you for coming over to my playground of life and playing with me, growing with me, and experiencing the fullness of life with me. Be joyful, my friends. Be the joy in everything you do. Stay crafty in your own way. Make your own joyful creations and express your joy. Hug yourself daily. I look forward to seeing you right here next week, if not around the Y2 streets before then. Nugs and joy. I love you very much. Mwah. Have a great day. Have a great week. And I'll see you next week.